My guest today is an entrepreneur. She is the founder of Zanda Zonke and a motivational speaker on purpose, leadership, and personal branding. She's also passionate about women empowerment. Guys, please meet Stha Mavundla. Stha, welcome, and thank you for agreeing to come onto this podcast to share your thoughts and your ideas with our audience.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So guys, today we are going to be talking about how you can improve your self-confidence and your personality. Okay, so many of us recognize the value of improving our feelings of self-worth, because when our self-confidence is higher, we not only feel better about ourselves, we are more resilient as well. Brain scan studies demonstrate that when our self-confidence is higher, we are likely to experience common emotional wounds, such as rejection and failure, as less painful and bounce back from them more quickly. Okay, so when our self-confidence is higher, we are less vulnerable to anxiety. We release less cortisol in our bloodstream when we are under stress, and it is less likely to linger in our system. So contrary to what you may think, you can improve your self-confidence and your personality. And we know that not only can we improve the personality, but we can also develop it in ways we previously did not understand or believe possible. And until quite recently, it was believed that personality is permanent. In 1890, William James, the famous Harvard psychologist, wrote in his influential work, The Principles of Psychology, that personality was set in plaster by early childhood. But now we know that that is not true. Okay, this view prevailed for over a century. However, the idea that personality is more fluid has gained control over time, which means that your personality can change and be improved. Okay, so we are now at a point where we realize that we can have influence and control over which traits and characteristics we want to develop or refine. So what is personality? Okay, personality is the typical pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaviors that make a person unique. So, Stha, you are a thought leader, and I've watched some of your videos. I've seen how confident you are, and so I just want to ask you, like, how can a person listening to this right now build their self-confidence and their self-esteem?
Sure. Thank you so much for the question. So building your self-confidence and self-esteem is, as you said, something that's very possible. I think the first step is identifying the fact that you can do something about it. A lot of the times people will just say, oh no, I'm just a very shy person. Oh no, I just prefer not doing this because I just don't like it. Or no, that's not me. Do you know what I'm saying? Where a person is just going to take the back seat in their own life in saying, okay, I'm just not a confident person. You have some confident people and I just don't happen to be one of them. So I think the very first step is actually identifying the fact that your confidence is something that you can improve, right? Then once you move on from there, from identifying that your self-confidence is something that you can improve, then you can start stepping into the journey of actively building your self-confidence. So that's the very first step I would suggest. Should I go on?
Yes.
Right. Okay, once you've actually been able to convince yourself that, hey, look, I can become confident, then the next step that I'd suggest for a person would be to start with the small stuff. Start with the very needle-like projects in your life. Because a lot of the times a person will say, yeah, I believe I can be confident. They'll stand in front of a mirror and just say the affirmations on day one, then walk in front of a crowd and shake in their boots. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's not just an overnight thing. You've got to understand that yes, you can build up your self-confidence, but it's one step, not bed in the morning, right? Waking up and making your bed in the morning, and not just in any way, making your bed in the best way you know how to make your bed. If you go there and you want to go get dressed up and you want to go to work, dress in the best way you know how. Little things. That's where it sends a message to yourself where you're like, actually, I can do things to the best of my ability. And everything around you starts to raise, and you start believing in yourself with the little things. Even when you have a meeting, try make that be the best meeting you've ever had. Do you know what I'm saying? Then from then, it hacks your brain and tells your brain, hey, I'm capable of doing this. Because what happens after that? You're happy because you have produced a great result. How? Because you told yourself, okay, this is the thing that I'm going to focus on right now. And I'm going to do this very thing the best way I know how. Once you do this very thing the best way you know how, you can do the next thing the best way you know how, and the next thing, and the next thing. So they all build up one step at a time. Then with the next one, now that I previously mentioned, your affirmations, right? Your affirmations are very important in your journey of self-confidence, because that's you proclaiming what you want to see take place and happen in your life. I know the very popular thing of, I think I've seen a video of Tony Robbins where he's saying, yeah, if there are weeds in your garden, you can't go to your garden and say, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. Obviously, that's not what we're saying, where you come across and you say something that's not true. Start with affirmations that you can believe, right? Start with affirmations that you can actually convince yourself of. Don't say, I'm confident. Then in your head, you're having this conflict because your brain's like, no, you're not. Like, why are you lying? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, you're not. Why are you lying? Perhaps before you can say that, maybe say, my self-confidence is improving. Do you know what that does now?
Yeah. Yes.
Where it's no longer a thing of, I've jumped overnight now, I'm confident. It's a thing of, wow, my self-confidence is improving. And combine that with you doing your best in the little tasks, your brain is going to verify what you're declaring, because with each and every single little thing that you're doing, it's almost going to be as though they're working in synergy. Okay, so my self-confidence is improving. Even while you're making your bed, my self-confidence is improving. You go to the gym, you do as best as you can. My self-confidence is improving. Then you'll get to the point where you're like, yo, listen, I'm confident. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's a journey. It's a journey. Yeah.
Okay. You know, the part where you said my confidence is improving. This morning, actually, I was looking out of this window and I was telling myself, I am a very good podcaster. I am one of the best podcasters in the world. to sort of like remove the nerves that I was having about actually getting started, and with my first podcast interview, which I'm doing with you, by the way, on the Apple like with a podcast. So some of the things that you just touched on now is that like one of the first things a person needs to do is that they need to set themselves up to win. Okay, and they need to actually they need to care for themselves, and they need to they need to affirm themselves. Can you just take me through visualization of themselves as how they want themselves to be? How does a person do that? How do they visualize?
So in terms of your visualization and how you want to be as a person, it really comes from a place of truly understanding why you want to be what you want to be.
Okay.
So understanding the fact that you want to be confident. Why do you want to be confident? Yes, you might be able to picture yourself being confident, but if you can just picture yourself being confident, you're going to see yourself standing in front of a crowd and people are clapping hands for you. Do you know what I'm saying? But where's the basis in that?
Yeah.
How are you going to have that cemented into your subconscious? But if you can sit down and take the time to say, wow, I want to be confident because I want to use my voice to change the lives of many people out there who deserve to hear what I have to share. I have very valuable information to share with others, and me being confident means me being able to express that in the best way possible to inspire others. Now you're attaching a feeling to it, right? Now it's not just the thing of, I just want to be confident, because it will quickly lose steam if you just want to be confident. You just will go to a confidence, one of those superficial confidence master classes where they'll just tell you, oh, stand with your back straight, project your voice. You can stand with your back straight and project your voice, but you can still come across as not being confident, or you'll know in your own mind where you'll say, actually, I'm an imposter. I don't deserve to stand here. You see, it's a whole different ball game now. So with the visualization would be sitting down, establishing why you want to be what you want to be. Attach the feeling to that. Attach the emotional connection to that. Then it's going to be much easier for you to visualize. Then when you do visualize yourself standing in front of a large crowd and people are clapping hands for you, you might even get emotional because you're like, wow, these people are standing up, clapping hands for me right now. But I know it's because the message I just shared with them went down straight to their hearts. So it's not just about you and you looking good. It's about the other people that you're making an impact in. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. For anyone that is listening to this for the first time, okay, please just subscribe so that you don't miss any future episodes that we release on this particular podcast. And if you guys are thinking about like, wow, how can I get more of these thoughts and ideas and knowledge from Stha? You can find Stha Mavundla on Instagram and on Twitter at Stha_Mavundla. And she's also on LinkedIn as well if you want to reach out to her for business. Okay, or just search for Stha Mavundla and you'll see her. She's that beautiful woman with the big afro on her profile. Okay, so Stha, the next question I actually want to ask you is, how can a person build their personality? Okay, because this is a question that I often get where people say that that they don't have a nice personality. They don't feel confident in themselves because of their personality. I mean, personally, I've been told, like a long time ago, okay, that I needed to improve some aspect of my personality, like my listening skills. Like for example, okay, and one way that I managed to actually do that was, well, going to learn how to listen better. Like, what other ways can you suggest to people on how to improve their personality?
Okay. Let me think about that one. Improving their personality. Always first thing, identifying and saying, okay, I can improve my personality, number one. First, tell yourself that you can, because if you still have doubts that you can change your personality or not change it, but improve, if you still got doubts, whatever you work on won't have substance. So first, tell yourself that, okay, and convince yourself that you can change aspects of your personality. If you need a lot more convincing where that's concerned, go on YouTube. Speak to Wale himself, and he'll tell you how he improved his own personality. Learn from other people that have implemented certain strategies to improve their own personality. Once you've done that and you've established, okay, cool, awesome, I can improve. I don't have to stay and be the person that I am right now. It's okay, fine. Then what I'd suggest for you to do is to sit down with a journal or a piece of paper, write down all your strengths, right? Write down all your strengths, all the beautiful things, because I don't believe that anyone is a horrible person. I don't believe that. So write down all your strengths first, right? Appreciate and express gratitude for the person that you are. Understand that you are enough already as you are. Yes. Then on the other side, you write down your weaknesses or your points to improve upon. You write them down on the other side. Once you've already expressed gratitude for your strengths, you go on to the other side of your weaknesses and you say, okay, cool. This is what I need to work on now as a person. Okay, for example, let's say you need to work on your listening skills. Or, yeah, I also worked on my listening skills actually when I was a lot younger. Let me use another one. Let's say you're not patient, right? Because some people say, oh, I'm just an impatient person, right? Let's use that as an example. So let's say, for example, now people just say, oh, he's so impatient, or you've dubbed yourself as an impatient person. Then you now start working on that aspect of yourself, right? You now research patience, right? So you look into patience. What is patience? What does patience entail? How can I be more patient? Then you learn from the examples in your life of patient people. Then you start applying those things. You read books on patience. You focus on patience. I don't want you to focus on the fact that I'm so impatient. How can I stop being impatient? I'm so impatient. Each and every single time you're impatient and you're just like, oh no, I'm impatient. You keep drilling into your subconscious that you're impatient. So each and every single time, there will be things that will pop into your life that will expose your impatience. Yeah? But when you start shifting your focus to something like patience, then you start having a holistic view of what patience entails. And within that, you'll even learn that, yes, there will come times when it's not so easy to be patient. You might want to lash out and be impatient, but it's okay. It's fine. Why? Because you're still learning and growing. You're still growing in the sense of you walking on the path of being a patient person. So yeah, that's what I'd honestly suggest. I know I've given an example, but there are many other aspects of your personality that you can work on, and you can improve upon each and every single one of them. It just takes a whole lot of patience. It takes a whole lot of patience, and yeah, just understanding that all things are possible.
So, one saying that I know about patience is that patience is believing that it's going to happen. Okay, so that's something that I always tell myself. When I feel a little bit impatient, I'm like, okay, cool. Is it going to happen or not? Yes, it's going to happen. Then I just chill. Okay, and so like you are quite well known for leadership. And some of the stuff that we just mentioned now, like patience, like like reading, improving your listening skills, they all fall under developing like your leadership skills. Okay, can you just expand that for me? Like how does a person develop their leadership skills? What other aspects of their personality do they need to actually improve in order for them to develop their leadership skills? Because anyone can be a leader. It just comes down to to the work that you do on yourself? Like, yeah, can you just share a bit more or expand more on how a person can improve their leadership skills?
Okay. So the very first step in improving your leadership skills is introspection, being self-aware, leading yourself first. Because a lot of the times people will look at others in positions of leadership and say, wow, I want to be like that guy one day. Not understanding the fact that that guy didn't just get there and stand in front of a bunch of people leading entire teams and being applauded for his leadership. It took a lot of groundwork, and it took a lot of introspection from his part to be known as a good leader, whoever that person is in your life, right? Male or female, whoever you want to aspire to be like. So the very first step would be awareness, self-awareness. Another step of working on your leadership skills, with self-awareness, what that also entails now, what that helps you with later on as you work on your leadership skills, is the fact that you'll be able to look at yourself from an objective point of view, where you'll understand your own flaws, you'll understand your own mistakes, and you'll understand your own strengths as well. So self-awareness is absolutely vital in that. Another one of the aspects that's also very important is self-discipline. Self-discipline is really important with working on your leadership skills. Number one, because when you are self-aware, you'll know this is what I need to change in my life, right? But without the self-discipline, how are you going to start working on those things? It's not enough to just be self-aware. It's not enough to just express self-love in your self-awareness, right? You need to be able to apply the self-discipline too.
And self-discipline is, for me, I feel that it is the highest form of self-love.
I love that. That's so true. It is the highest form of self-love because it's you actually believing that you're worthy and capable of achieving what it is you want to achieve. For as long as you don't apply that self-discipline, there's always an inkling of a doubt in your mind saying, oh, I don't really, you know, do I think I deserve that? Do I think I can achieve that? Yeah. Then as we were talking now, just on self-love, I'm going to get to talking about the people. Right now, I'm just dealing with you as an individual that wants to be a leader. So with self-awareness, self-discipline and self-love now is very important. Loving yourself enough to forgive yourself, to be patient towards yourself, to be kind towards yourself, right? So by the time it gets to you now, being able to interact with other people, by the time you are able to lead whatever group, whatever team, whatever people that you're going to be leading in that position that you'll be in, you'll be more empathetic towards them. You'll treat them with more care, with more kindness, understanding the fact that they're human. Why? Because you're human at the end of the day, too. So I think that's fundamental. Then as well, another thing that's important is to work on your interpersonal skills. I think that's a given, where learn how to communicate with others, learn how to express yourself, learn how to take criticism, because it will come. When you put yourself up, right? When you're in a position, elevated position, you're a bit up above in terms, well, figuratively, from the people around you. So you become an object, right? Object to be admired, object to be despised, I don't know. But you've got to be able to take criticism as well with a pinch of salt. Humility is absolutely vital. Leaders are there to serve. Leaders are there to serve. For as long as you don't understand that leadership is actually serving, then you are not going to be an impactful, influential leader. You're just not, because you're just looking at the accolades of it. So it's important to understand that leadership is servanthood. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stha, for sharing that. I've got one last question, and this is a question that was asked on my Instagram. If you guys are, if you're not following me yet on Instagram, you can find me at Adewale Adejumo. And the question is, what advice can you give to someone that feels lonely because they don't have friends or even childhood connections? I know this is a little bit off topic, but what advice can you give to someone that just feels lonely because they feel like they don't have friends?
I don't want them to beat themselves up for it. Number one. Because a lot of the times when a person feels lonely, they're like, oh, why is this me? Why am I so lonely? And they focus on the fact that they're so lonely. Then they feel more lonelier. Then it's just a spiral. It's just an endless, like, whirlwind downwards. So the first thing I'd want that person to first realize and acknowledge is the fact that it's not their fault, number one. Fine. Number two, they can do something about it. And that thing doesn't require them going outside and looking for friends. Light bulb moment. They can start becoming a friend to themselves. Oftentimes when a person says, I feel lonely, it's because they're always looking on the outside for someone to entertain them. They're always looking on the outside for someone else to make them feel as though they've got someone. But I would encourage that person to spend time with him or herself. Spend time, get to know, what do you like? What don't you like? And I can tell you from personal experience, I used to have moments where I felt lonely as well, where I was like, oh my goodness, I've got nobody in my life. I'd hang out with friends, yeah, that would be great. But then when I'd be sitting by myself, I'd just be like, I wanna just, can I have a friend over? Can I just, why? Because I didn't have that friendship with myself. I didn't have that friendship with myself, so I felt lonely. But once I started learning, hey, Stha, you're pretty cool, man. Like, you share some funny jokes. Then would come times when now I started watching things I wanted to watch. I would crack up at my own jokes because I'd be like, girl, you funny. I started becoming a friend with myself, where I now enjoyed my own company. I now saw myself as being someone worthy enough to be a friend to. Do you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it can happen that that person feels lonely because they also feel as though that they're not worthy enough to be befriended. You see? So once they're projecting those feelings of not feeling worthy enough to be befriended, then it's almost as if the people around them catch on to that and they don't want to get close to them because they feel as though they're like needy. But once you make yourself your own friend and your cup is full, you overflow with happiness and an open heart. So whenever you do meet someone else, they'll be like, wow, you are such a great person to hang around. You're adding that way. That way you're adding. You're not coming across as someone that's lonely, but you're coming across as someone that's happy. Being alone is different. Yes, you can be alone, but being lonely is something that you carry everywhere with you. You can go to the mall alone, but you'll get there, you'll be in the midst of other people. Do you know what I'm saying? But if you're lonely, you can go to a fully packed mall, you'll be lonely. You can go to another gathering with so-called colleagues or classmates or whatever it is, and you'll be lonely. That's something you carry with you everywhere. So as I was previously saying, it's working on that friendship with yourself. Research what that entails, one step at a time, be patient, and before you know it, you will be so happy and content with where you are in your life, and you'll just be attracting all these happy people too that are enlightened and so delighted to be a part of your circle because you're complete, you're happy, you're whole, and they are too. And those are the kind of friendships you want to be in. But for now, just work on yourself and be your own friend first.
So it basically goes back to how you build your self-confidence through things like, like affirmation, setting yourself up to win, and also working on your personality as well. But researching even deeper on the personalities that that makes someone become a better leader. Being a better listener, not being afraid to meet new people. Not being afraid to share what you know with people. Yeah. So it just goes back to all of those things. At the end of the day, for someone that feels lonely, do you affirm?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said, do you affirm to what I just said? That it goes back to building your self-esteem and it goes back to building your personality.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you agreeing to come onto our podcast to share your thoughts and your knowledge with us. Are there any last words that you'd like to leave us with? We have about 2 minutes left.
I just like to say that all things are possible. I know it sounds cliche. All things are absolutely possible. Only if you just believe. Only if you just believe. Nothing is beyond your reach. And all it takes is a decision and identifying and realizing the fact that you're worthy of all the desires of your heart. If you have that desire in your heart to be a bold person, to be confident, to have friends around you, to take yourself out there, there's nothing more that you need. All that you need is within you. Stop looking outside. Stop looking at everything else when the power is within. So all things are possible, and just go ahead and do it.
Thank you so much. It was really lovely having you on Happy Like Buddha.
Thank you so much. I was happy to be here.
Thank you for tuning in. If you did enjoy that conversation, please subscribe to Adewale Adejumo channel and click on notifications so we can let you know each time we have a new episode.